Hey everybody, welcome back to the Withering Effect. This is episode number 5. Today's date is July 14th, 2019, and I am Duds, also known as Duds Versus in all my social media circles.
And I am Bankkaardappel, or Bank for short, and today we're going to talk about some Minecraft. What have you been doing this week, Duds?
This week was video week, so instead of doing a lot of live streaming, my main focus was getting my video done. It went pretty well. We finished a room that's really been like the bane of my base's existence for, 2-3 months now. It's kind of keeping me from pushing an expansion area into play just because I needed to know how the room was going to look before I push forward. And it looks really good. I'm kind of happy with it. While working on this room, I also decided that I didn't like my villager trading area that I had made early in the season. So I've changed that. It's going to kind of be like a showcase stall, which doesn't make much sense for my pace. But I'm going with it. I don't care. It looks cool. And that's all that really matters in Minecraft, right? Looking cool?
Yeah, pretty much. I think so.
What'd you get up to this week?
So I actually did a lot of, I guess behind the scenes stuff. I cleaned up like all the shulker boxes I had laying around my base, which was a lot of them, and they were spread out. I discovered I might actually need to build a storage.
Yes.
Something bigger than, I guess the 2 or 3 double chests, added up, I'm using now.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cool, because that kind of pushes me forward towards working a bit more on actually getting a house going in my base.
Yeah.
I guess it's time for that, for sure.
Yeah, we're only a year into the server and everything.
Yeah, exactly. I probably should get something like that done.
You had more of a house in Spawn Town the first week.
Yeah. Well, I have had a little sort of house in my swamp as well, which which I'm using all the time, which works great. I mean, it's a nice house that I got.
This is true.
At least I think so. For the rest, I found a pillager outpost, so I thought let's play with that, which was slightly disappointing. The loot's really bad in there.
I didn't even realize they had loot in there. I thought the loot was just coming from killing pillagers.
Well, there's like a chest, like in the top of one of those outpost thingies, and I can't remember what was in it, but it was sort of like 2 saddles and just some useless stuff, really. Not even diamonds or whatever I think it was. Maybe there was a crossbow that could be nice.
Yeah, but if you're, let's face it, we all go looking for loot early game, and it's like early game. It's not really worth risking death that early in the game for a couple saddles and maybe a diamond and a crossbow.
No, those things definitely didn't seem to be. I mean, they're in villages. You seem to get better loot, it seems. But then again, I only did one. Maybe I had bad luck.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. And I got obviously bad omen doing that. So I thought let's do a raid, which was kind of fun. It was really laggy, so a lot of the time I had slow motion mobs, which I guess made it easier. But I can see how people say they're tough. Like you get some of those vindicators, the ones that summon the little vexes and stuff, and you get a few of those at the same time. I guess that could be kind of tricky. I kind of enjoyed it, but it was a bit easier, I think, because of the lag.
Did you raid in your OP god armor though?
Well, I sort of don't have that gold armor anymore.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember you telling me about this.
Yeah, I was a bit stupid, so I lost it. But fair enough. So no, I didn't use that. But I mean, for the most part, I used my bow, so that the really dangerous stuff I could keep at a distance. And the arrows from the pillagers don't hurt that much, which was nice. Yeah. When I got back, I got pranked. I think it was Opni. I'm pretty sure it was Opni.
I think we can all confidently say you got pranked by Opni.
Yeah. And but I'll show that in a video, so that's I'll not reveal too much of that on here. That was about it. So I'll move on to to the Minecraft news.
Minecraft news. I'm actually going to
It's,
adjust my seat real quick so you guys are probably going to hear me.
Squeak, squeak.
It's not
Yeah,
too
the
bad.
news was interesting. We had like 2 pre-releases, one day after another. Or how do you say it? Like
Yeah.
14.4 was like the 10th, I think it was, and then 14.5 was like the 11th.
Mm-hmm.
It had a lot of villager bug fixes. It seemed like that there were things that showed the wrong books in the trading, or it showed the wrong prices.
Oh,
Or it
really?
gave you the wrong book with trading. I'm not exactly sure on that, but there were like little sort of things like that, and they didn't shut the doors behind them.
Gotcha.
It's like a really dead thing to call a bug, I guess. But yeah,
Were you raised in a barn? And the
yeah,
villager's just
exactly.
kind of like, yes.
Oh, we have the saying like, "Were you raised in a church?"
Yeah.
But there was one noteworthy thing, at least I think so, and that's when you stand on top of a pillar, or when you chop down a tree and you stand on top of it and you get nudged off.
Mm-hmm. I hate that.
It seems like they fixed that one.
Oh,
So that's
thank you.
yeah, so that's something to look forward to for
I
14.4.
hate that. I'm chopping trees down like crazy because my shop's empty like it always is. And I'm just constantly getting pushed off. You know how bad it feels to get pushed off a jungle tree and then have a server lag, so it just props you right back up to the jungle tree to be knocked back off the jungle tree again?
Oh, that sounds really annoying.
I'm pretty sure from the outside it looks hilarious. But for me, it's just like, ah! Oh, phew, I'm safe. Ah! Again.
I should go stand and watch looking at you chopping down trees before that.
Oh, I'm
bug
sure that's the
get
most
fixed.
boring thing in the world.
Could be. But yeah, that was about it for the Minecraft news.
Yeah, not a lot of news. I have a feeling, though, we're going to get 14.4 out this week.
Oh, okay. What makes you think that?
Well, let's see. Today is Sunday. We don't air our episodes till Wednesday. I have a feeling Monday, 14.4 will be out. So by the time this episode goes out, 14.4 will already be out.
Oh, cool. That would be nice.
Just because the last couple releases, that's the way they've done it. They've put like a last minute update on a Friday or a Thursday, and then by the time the weekend's over, here's the full release.
Oh, nice. I hadn't paid attention to that in the last few updates, but that yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to that. That breaking down a pillar thing is really annoying.
Oh yeah,
Getting nudged off it. Yeah.
Especially considering I don't use scaffolding blocks.
I mean, I do use scaffolding blocks a bunch, but just there's a lot of times where you just make a pillar out of wood or dirt still. Like, you don't always use it. Or just when you dig down somewhere, I guess. Chopping trees.
Yeah. Alright, but we're going to move on to that. We're going to go to listener comments. Remind you guys that if you have questions or comments, you can tweet us. We also have a Discord and an email. The email we'll give at the end of the show so you don't forget or anything like that. But yeah, again, we have a Discord, and that's going to be the easiest way for you guys to send in questions and comments. But also this week, on July 20th, which is a Saturday, which again will happen after the podcast is aired, we are having a live stream day on the Ripple Effect. So there's going to be a bunch of us live streaming. We have a schedule and a little graphic so you can watch your favorite Riplets live stream and everything. Bank is going to be live streaming. That's a big thing because Bank's never live streamed before. Yeah. Yep. We're going to be pushing
Got it
Bank
all
into
set
it.
up.
I'm pretty excited for that. Yeah, we'll have a graphic up in the show notes, and you guys will be able to see all of that stuff. I think it's kind of time for the main topic, though.
I think so as well. We got a lot to talk about, I think.
Yeah. Main topic this week is mobs. Basically, mobs in Minecraft, what we want to see from mobs in Minecraft, and what's with mobs. Now, I wanted to look at mobs in a different way, such as mobs that were created for Minecraft but not really implemented. So, we'll start with 2 mobs that really aren't like important at all. The killer bunny and the zombie horse. Why the zombie horse isn't in there, I don't know. But
yeah, they got the skeleton horse.
Right. It's like, put the zombie horse in there. Maybe, I don't know, have zombies not like regular horses, and so zombies can change horses. I
Or
don't.
maybe add something like the riding, like the skeletons that are sitting on a horse, do something similar for zombies. I don't know.
Yeah, but with no ranged weapons, a zombie on a horse is not really much of a threat.
Uh, well, I mean, it's more the gimmick factor than it really needing to be a threat, I guess.
That's true. Yeah, and then Killer Bunny, that's one I didn't really ever see a need for.
Well, it's just a reference to Monty Python, right?
Oh, yes, yeah, I didn't even realize that.
The quest for the Holy Grail, I think the movie is. I think that someone just must have added it because he was a fan of that, and
Probably.
I don't know.
But let's get into the first mob I saw that was interesting that I went, why not? And that was the giant. To me, I want the giant in the game. I think it would be awesome. But I don't want it to be a zombie. Why is everything in Minecraft zombies? I want to see this this giant reskinned into something different, maybe like an ogre or something crazy like that, and it should be a boss fight. Like, I don't know, if we're gonna go Shrek here, maybe put the giant in swamps, and the giant can only be spawned on a full moon in a swamp.
Or have like a yeah, I mean that's a good idea. Or have a swamp structure or something like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anything. I like the idea of having the giant reskinned and actually in the game.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you have to place an item or do some kind of trigger, kind of like respawning the dragon fight, to do this giant fight. But it should be in the game. There's not enough boss battles in Minecraft. You have the dragon fight and you have the wither. We need more boss fights.
Yeah, I agree. I think the giant would be really fun to have in the game. It wouldn't even need to be like a difficult thing, but it's just have it there. You got it already. Why not use it?
Exactly. And then the second, what did I say, mob that was in the game. I wanted to call it what it was, but the Illusioner. It's a Vindicator. It was originally going to be in Woodland Mansions, and they took it out. Then I think it was going to be in patrols or raids, and then they took it out again. I'm not sure why it keeps getting taken out. Maybe it's OP. So like its big thing, what it does is it puts blindness on you, so you really can't see for up to a minute or something like that, and then it duplicates itself. So you have 4 illusioners running around, and then it itself turns invisible. It doesn't seem too OP to me.
I remember I saw them making that and putting it in the game. I think it was around the time they were making the mansions. And I mean, it seemed like a very interesting mob. And I still don't get why they added. Like you say, it looks cool. It doesn't... Well, I mean, if you get a lot of them, they might get really tricky. But the same goes for the Vindicators. I don't see them being any stronger than the Vindicator.
Yeah.
Or I'm saying a Vindicator. I mean the other one. The one that summons the Vexes.
Yeah. Well, their main weapon's like a bow and arrow. So even that doesn't seem too crazy for me. Of course, even like on the duplication thing, you can have it not turn invisible and just have the real illusioner be one of the 4. And so that kind of less OPs it, but at the same time still stays true to its name.
Well, I think like he would be in the center of the 4, right? When he was invisible. So I don't think that should matter that much, because if you know he's gonna be in the middle of the 4, you can just still hit him when he is invisible.
Yeah, I mean
it's his mechanic, right? I
Right.
don't think it would be too hard once you know what he does.
And this is where I think the tipped arrows would have actually come in handy, because I think the tipped arrows came about the time the Woodland Mansions came, right?
I think so, yeah.
Well, you have that one tipped arrow. I forget what it's called, that highlights a mob.
Yeah, the glowing arrow or something.
Yeah, I mean, if you imagine shooting just random those arrows, you now hit that mob that's invisible, and now it puts a highlight around him. So you're
Yeah, I
good.
don't think you even need Dragon Breath to make those arrows. You just need Glowstone. So they're sort of cheap to make. So that could
I'm not
be,
sure.
yeah,
I
that would
don't
be a
really know
useful.
anybody who uses tipped arrows.
I think I used them once when I was fighting Jimbo to be able to counter like invisible or him hiding behind something.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't really work out because they run off quickly and stuff. But I
Yeah.
mean, it was fun to try. But that's about it.
I know the hermits were using them whenever the elytras were. You still had to do the punch bow to fly.
Mm-hmm.
So some were using like healing tipped arrows, but I think like
Oh yeah,
rockets came out the .1 update after that. So yeah, immediately forgot about.
yeah. The tipped arrows aren't really working out as great as I think they hoped it would.
No. But my big thing with illusioners that I think would change a lot is I think they should drop mirror blocks.
Interesting. What would they do?
Well, I mean, everyone tries to replicate the mirror effect, right? Which is basically
Mm-hmm.
you kind of have to put some glass on the floor, rebuild your entire build upside down.
Yeah.
Well, now you have mirror blocks. Now imagine mirror blocks using redstone. So you
Okay.
have the observer that can look one block ahead of you. Well, now a mirror block. Imagine if you had a, I don't know, had a maybe a redstone signal coming into it can push it 90 degrees because it's still a cube
Mm-hmm.
and it's got mirrors on every side. So I don't know. To me, it could because you always want multiple functions with blocks and stuff. So that's what was my thinking with the mirrors. If you have a mirror block, it's not an item frame, it's not a picture, it's an actual block. You can probably do some cool redstone with it and turn it. Hey, Suze, seriously, I swear, it's like she hears
Susie
me
knows how.
talking, immediately starts doing some crazy stuff.
Yep, she knows how to interrupt.
Yeah, Swabby was gonna take her with him with dinner so I could have quietness, but no,
I guess he forgot.
no, he wasn't able to. I think that was, yeah. I just thought about being able to curve redstone and maybe amplify it. I mean, I know you can just put a redstone dust down and turn it 90 degrees. That's not that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe you can, let's say you use, I don't know, 16 mirror blocks.
Right.
And it just keeps pushing the signal on. Like there's no drop in the signal.
Oh.
That's what I'm trying to say. That
Like
was
like
what was hard to
redstone
figure out.
would be sort of a laser, I guess, that could get bounced around by
Yeah, because I mean,
the mirror blocks.
if you put a mirror in front of you and a mirror behind you, you get that effect where it's just like that long tunnel of mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine putting a mirror block in front of it and a mirror block behind it, and now you've got a redstone signal going into one of them. It's just bouncing the redstone effect all the way down the mirror blocks. This will now allow
Oh,
you
that's
to
interesting.
have redstone underwater. Instead of just using observers, you can now use
Yeah.
this mirror block.
Oh, I like that. You're onto something there.
Yeah, it was hard for me to spit out, but
Mm-hmm.
that's where I was
Yeah,
going with it.
Took me a while to figure out what you were exactly meaning. But
Well, you know.
I like it. That's a good idea. That would be a great redstone edition.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to well, I mean, you sold it with saying like you can do redstone through water.
Yeah.
That would be so nice.
Mm-hmm. Especially now that the update Aquatic's out and water is getting used for much more than it's ever had.
Yeah, the water definitely came more to life. It would be nice to be able to do decent redstone underwater, I guess, without having to go. I mean, you can do redstone underwater, obviously, but it requires a lot of creativity
And precision.
Yeah,
You knock the wrong block out, you've lost a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's high risk.
All right. Now that we've got through the 4 that have already like been physically made, but just aren't implemented in the game, like you can spawn all these mobs with commands, and stuff like that. I want to go to the mob vote from MineCon a couple years ago, because there's three other mobs that didn't get put into the game. Well, I'm going to say 3.5, and I'll reveal the half here in a minute.
Well, and I think it might be worth mentioning. They all got, like, worked out. They literally were, like, completed. They probably still had to be sort of made, but they had they had a visual for them.
Yeah, I'm sure
they had all the mechanics
really
sorted out.
AI.
Yeah. So they were really close to being done, I'd say.
Well, you had Mob A, which kind of looked like a squid. Its whole thing was it would spawn in deep ocean and suck you to the bottom. Now, that I wasn't a fan of. If you're in a boat, I don't think it should be allowed to suck you out of the boat. But if you're swimming in deep ocean, yeah, maybe. But it was another squid, which I wasn't kind of happy with. But I don't know. You could do a giant squid, make it like gas size, and then it's different.
Sure.
Put a gas size thing in a deep ocean, and then I'm okay with the squid texture. Minecraft has a problem where they just copy textures and change them up a little bit, such as what we got in 1.13 was the drowned. Why? Why another zombie? I don't know. But yeah, this mob should just kind of had been included in 1.13 anyway. According to me, I don't think it would have taken much work. Even if it was just a visual mob, even if it didn't do anything, it just kind of swam around.
Well, we got to vote for which animal they would add in 1.13, right? And then we voted for like a sky mob, which was the Phantom. And then we got an underwater update. It's like, why did you even ask if you got an underwater option?
Yeah. Well, to me, the underwater option shouldn't have been an option. It should have just been in the game.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah, definitely.
The next mob we had was Mob C, what they called the Great Hunger. And this is where the half comes in. It was a lizard-like creature that sinks into the ground, camouflages itself, and consumes mobs and items with its mouth. Players would be able to use this mob's abilities to add or remove enchantments for players' own items. That sounds a lot like the grindstone to me.
It does, yeah.
So I think what they did is, well, Mob C didn't make it into the game, so we created the grindstone because we already implemented everything you need to do to get that to work, so... Ta-da!
Well, something they didn't add, which I like about the mob, is that it sort of camouflages itself and it sinks in the ground. I kind of like that idea.
It could be cool. I think you definitely still need to give it a tell so you know it's there.
Oh yeah, just give it a little dirt mount or something.
Yeah, creepers do enough camouflaging themselves as it is. They're bright neon green, and I'm telling you, you still can't see them half the time.
Well, they're called creepers for a reason, I guess.
That's very true. They should make a thing with creepers. So, like, you remember the ghost in Super Mario? So, like, if you're running, the ghost follows you, but if you turn around and look at it, it just stands still. That's the way creepers should be.
That would be nice.
Yep.
At least you could prevent them from walking closer when you spot them.
That's true. Or maybe it does the Enderman thing when you spot them. It just screams and chases you.
Oh, that would be...
If that isn't scary enough.
Combine the Enderman with a creeper. Why not?
Yeah, I mean... Now make the creeper as tall as an Enderman.
Oh, boy. I mean, it's just getting worse and worse.
That's true. Okay, so Mob D, the Hovering Inferno. I think this was like everyone's least favorite mob. It was just basically another blaze, but instead of having the little rods that spun around it, it had these giant shield kind of plating. Now,
okay.
What I thought was, why do we need another blaze? We already have blaze. And I think that's kind of what everyone felt, because it was another mob, and it was going to spawn with blazes only, like on a Wither Fortress. To me, it just kind of felt like the cheap and easy way. What I would have done with said mob is maybe put that mob in the overworld instead of in the nether. So now you have like a fire mob in the overworld. Or you have the aquatic update right there. You could have made it another water mob. Maybe it kind of, I don't know, dances across the water with these shield plate things.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. Or even make it shoot water or something. I mean, a firing mob
Like
in the
that.
overworld could be annoying.
Yeah.
Set everything on fire.
And since it's got these big shield things on it, my thing was if you killed it, you should be able to grab those shield plates and make shields with them.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, so if you had an Inferno one in the Nether, you could have a fire shield. If you had a water version, because the aquatic update, you could have a water shield. I don't know if they really would do anything, but you could have them different shapes. So that would bring in different shaped of shields into the game or something like that.
Yeah, that could have been interesting. To be honest, it's the only mob I completely forgot, so I guess that kind of tells as well how sort of boring it was, maybe.
Yeah, or maybe if you make your armor pieces with the fire version, it already gives you, what is it, where you're fireproof?
Fire resistance?
Fire resistance. I'm blanking on words today. That's not a good thing.
Oh.
We're doing a podcast. Okay, now forget to speak.
That's definitely not helpful.
Yeah. But those were the mobs that aren't in the game that I knew of. That I was like, okay, now if I were to actually put them in the game, what would I do to make them kind of cool and make them worth having? Except for the Great Hunger, the lizard guy. Because let's face it, he's already in the game as a grindstone. I'm just going to name every grindstone I have the Great Hunger. And act like it's a lizard.
I mean, it's... Well, a part of it, yeah, like you said, half of it is in the game. The other half definitely still seems appealing to me. I like the idea of having that guy around and eating mobs and items. I think that could be interesting as well.
How cool would it be if it acted like a dog so you could befriend it and tame it? And it would follow you around like dogs do. But the second you go to fight something, it like buries itself into the ground. And if that mob steps on him as he's buried in the ground, he just jumps up and eats the mob.
Oh, that would be awesome.
So
well, I was thinking... Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't actually fight the mob. You have to fight the mob. But it'll one-hit kill anything that steps on it. So...
It's sort of like a mine or a trap. Yeah, oh, that would be cool. I was thinking to just put a few of them in like a little field. Mm-hmm. And then instead of having a trash can, just throw all the items in there with them and they would eat it.
That's another possibility.
It would make a nice trash can, I guess.
It would. But now here comes the fun part. I decided to try to make my own custom mob from scratch, and we talked about the rules, and our rules for this part of the topic was you can't generate a structure to basically give a reason to have a mob. So like we both kind of agreed, well, if we generate structures in the Nether, having a golem spawn there would be awesome. It's like, well, no, because there are no structures in the Nether other than the Nether fortress. You have to use what's there. You can't make your own to justify a mob.
Yeah, it would make it sort of too easy and too hard at the same time if you did that. Like you don't want to invent a mob and then having to like come up with a ton of mechanics and structures to make it work. You sort of just want a mob, right?
Yeah, it's like, well, I want a kraken in the ocean and it spawns next to this giant castle in underwater. Well, it's like, well, you have a guardian temple and stuff.
Yeah, and probably you would be more inventing like the castle than the actual mob.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. I think that could happen as well.
Yeah.
So it was a good idea to just have a mob and not include like structures or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna give you half credit on my mob because Bank thought of the spawning mechanic for my mob, and my mob is a wraith. So it's a ghost-like creature that'll spawn when a player is near soul sand. The wraith is attracted to the player, so it'll try to like hover towards the player, but it won't attack them unless provoked. So if you even just swing at it, that's when it's going to attack you. And it's going to attack you kind of like the flying Vex mobs would, just in that crisscross pattern. The only difference is they can only be killed with fire aspect, so it makes them OP. Because let's face it, a lot of people don't put fire aspect on their sword. Well, I guess flame on a bow would also work. It's got to be a flaming weapon.
Fire would kill them, basically.
Yeah, if you could get them to hover into fire, or even lava, because I'm counting lava as fire. I know a lot of mobs in the Nether don't die to lava, but this one would. So that'd be cool. And the big thing is when it drops, or when it dies, it drops quartz. So now it's a farmable mob for quartz.
Yeah, I at first I thought like, ooh, a raid. That's an interesting mob. Why would it be in the Nether? And then I started thinking, well, it's kind of a like hellish mob, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of
a bad thing.
So it makes sense to have it. Yeah, it makes sense to have it in the Nether. And then, like you said, I know you were struggling with like, what were the spawn mechanics? And then I suggested sort of something with soul sand. I think it would be a great mob. I think you invented an awesome thing there.
Yeah, I mean, when you mentioned soul sand, it makes perfect sense. It's soul sand. The wraith could be spawning to try to steal the soul out of the player.
Yeah, they sort of seem like they do that. I'm not exactly 100% sure on what a wraith actually is, but you know, it sort of fits the description that they would be after souls. And I love the idea that they drop quartz. It would. It's just amazing.
Well, especially on a multiplayer server, because after a while you start to run out of quartz in here, and you got to dig a while to get some more. Luckily, Ripple Effect's not too bad. Comicraft was way worse with losing quartz. Yeah, I think quartz needs to be farmable. I know you can trade for it with villagers now, but farmable quartz, I think, is a must. I think that's all I really kind of have for the Wraith. What do you have, Bank?
Well, I wanted to add one mob that sort of maybe existed half-ashly. I say it this way because it was a myth, and then I think we all have heard of Herobrine, I think he's named.
Yep.
I know, it's a mob. It's I think it's been like a myth for a really long time, hasn't it? And it sort of died out.
For a lot of the updates or whatever, in every update they'll say removed Herobrine and notes.
Yeah, and I remember like seeing videos of people encountering him and stuff, which obviously were faked, but it would be like a really rare something to encounter, but it would basically mean like if he looks at you, you're dead or something. I know eventually they sort of figured out that it really wasn't in the game. Which kind of is a shame. I always liked the idea of having him around somehow, like, just very rare.
Yeah.
I don't know. It added something like, ooh, what's that? Just, it makes you sort of jump for every unknown thing you see in the corner of your eyes or something.
That's not a good thing, man. I got a weak heart.
Yeah, good point. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I just like the idea of that.
If you're
like the killer bunny, right?
Yeah.
It would be one in a million or something would be the killer bunny. So I like that idea.
You have Herobrine and his pet killer bunny out together.
Oh boy, that would be even worse.
You're like, oh, look at that bunny there. And then it tries to eat your face. So you turn around to run and there's Herobrine. Great gameplay.
Oh, yeah. But in the same spirit, I obviously invented a mob as well. I don't think it matches yours. I think you invented an awesome one, which would really work in Minecraft. Mine is a bit more gimmicky, and I was thinking caves. It's been something that's been discussed lately a lot in general, I think. Cave updates and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I thought it could be interesting to just have a dedicated like cave monster or something. Considering caves are normally like really full of hostile mobs already, I don't think it necessarily needs to be a hostile mob.
Okay.
But I thought it could be fun to have it where you can feed it ores, and then when it eats it, it sort of spits it back out, or it poops out like the converted version of the ore, with a small fortune effect. which
Oh
could
yeah.
also work for like iron or gold. Like you find iron ore and you just give it to that thing, and it would eat it up and then poop out like 2 or 3 iron ingots. Uh,
Yeah, I mean
it,
that
it
would be
wouldn't.
real cool for early game for sure.
Yeah, that was my thought. Like you go down in caves and I don't know, you would encounter that and it would sort of help you out. Uh, I think that would just add a bit of fun, and it wouldn't be too overpowered. But maybe you could do, I don't know, combine it with quartz, maybe.
You can do that too.
Feed it quartz, and then you get a bit of fortune effect or whatever. Obviously, redstone diamonds. When you find your first diamonds, that's always some people wait a long time. They leave diamonds sort of underground, and then when they get a fortune pickaxe, they go and mine that. You could sort of go around that part, maybe.
That's true.
Um,
I like that. That could be a really fun. And like you said, it's gimmicky, but it's not OP and
Yeah.
game breaking. It's the perfect, nice little fit. It really emphasizes we're here to help you the first night.
Yeah, something like that. It wouldn't be annoying either, because I had a lot of like kind of cool mob ideas, I think, but they're all sort of didn't work. Like one I thought of was a nightingale or something like that, which would just sort of play Minecraft records, and then if you kill them, they would drop them or something. But imagine having those things around; they would just always be making music.
I can see
or
you
having a few
cursing
of them
at
around.
it, just going, "Why is this stupid mob here?" It's like, "Bank, you created it."
Yeah, exactly. It was like, oh, that's gonna be annoying for sure. Or coming up with some ridiculous tough monster that would show up, but that would be annoying as well. Like you just want to play the game, and that don't need to be.
You convinced me to kind of move on from, because originally my mob was going to be a mole that would just dig around the nether, and wherever he dug, he would just create more quartz. Well, to me, it's like, well, now he's digging a bunch of holes in the nether and stuff.
I did.
It's not a good.
I did think of a similar thing, which was a sort of giant underground worm.
Yeah.
I remember that from cartoons and things like that, and but I thought the only way to make that work would to have sort of a system, a generated structure where it goes through. Like the tunnels would be a generated structure, right? You wouldn't want, like, I don't think it would be reasonable to have a mob that just literally digs tunnels around. I don't think they could make that without creating like so much lag.
That might work in a stronghold, though. Depending on how big the giant worm is.
It could sort of crawl through that.
I mean, we have things like silverfish, which I feel are just worthless to the game. They don't... Silverfish and bats, I can deal without. But a giant worm wandering around a stronghold that could eat you, that could be kind of cool.
Yeah. I thought the giant worm would be awesome. I didn't think of the stronghold as I could have used it, I guess. It would be sort of a boss mob. At least that would be my idea. Like, you wouldn't want 20 of them respawning or something like that. Yeah. I did think of more mobs. Like an owl could be fun as well.
Yes, an owl would be an awesome mob.
Yeah, because I was thinking like flying mobs or rideable mobs or something underground. I would like to see water mobs, but we just had a water update, so I sort of ignored that immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, an owl I thought could be cool. You could make it sort of hunt rabbits, so you could get, I don't know, food from it maybe, or it could like howl in the night, or how do you call it? I don't actually know what it's called when an owl makes sound, but
hoot.
Hoot, that's it. Yeah, when it hoots, it could sort of alert for maybe creepers or something like that.
Yeah, if you have a mob near you, it just starts hooting or whatever.
Yeah,
kind of like
and it would be just
mimic mobs around them, except this one would just be a soft warning.
Yeah, well, and it would just be a nice ambience at night, I think, to have sort of.
That's true.
Owls or birds in general maybe have like soft bird noises. It's a shame the parrots take over like noise from other things.
Yeah, they should really have their own noise.
Yeah,
or maybe if you name a parrot something, it'll read its name, so it'll just say its name a lot.
Oof, that would be annoying. Get like the text to voice thingy from Minecraft doing that. Oh, that would be really annoying.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. What it came to realize making these mobs though is there aren't really much real flying mobs.
Mm-hmm.
Like the parrot doesn't really fly.
Yeah.
It sort of floats around, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You got the ghast, which do you call that flying? I don't know. I guess it sort of flies.
It's kind of
and
a
then
hover thing.
Yeah, and you got the phantom, which I don't know. It doesn't show up much.
Yeah.
The bats, they really fly.
Annoying.
Which is funny. You don't like them. I think it's kind of cool. And it's one of the few mobs that actually really flies.
Yeah.
And I think the last one is a Vex.
Mm-hmm.
They really fly. But yeah, it would be nice to have some flying stuff.
Well, let me throw this in your face, because I think this is a cool idea. I just thought of while you were talking. A raven.
Mm-hmm.
So you could give a named item to a raven, and that named item, if it was a player's name, would fly to that player and drop off the item.
Oh, I like that.
So,
that would be cool.
And it could work because if that player was online, basically all the raven does is fly and then teleport to the other player and then show up with the item or whatever. Now, to get the thing back, I guess it would already know if it's tamed to you, kind of like dogs are. Dogs know that they're your dog, so a raven would obviously do the same. So after it drops off the item, it would fly back.
I like that. That's kind of cool. You could get a delivery system going.
Mm-hmm. But
I mean, that's a nice one.
I'm still waiting on my rideable dragon. I want overworld dragons I can ride on. Is that too much to ask?
How much I love the idea. I don't think it'll
ever happen.
I did think a lot about like rideable things, and I started looking at real life, and beyond horses, we don't really ride that much animals, do we? Well,
No.
I guess camels.
Yeah, that's true. Camels. Camels would be a fun mob in the desert.
It would be fun, but it would be sort of a llama type thing, wouldn't it?
That's true too.
I mean, I guess you could give them horse mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
Just a different skinned horse.
I mean, they are pretty fast.
True. They're kind of fast in real life.
Elephants. We ride elephants.
Oh, that's very true. I would love to see an elephant in the game.
I would love to see an elephant in Minecraft. That would be awesome.
But maybe a bit too much.
Maybe. But if I get a rideable dragon, there better be an elephant.
Well, that's another thing. Like, I obviously the first thing I thought of was like, oh, what if you get like an eagle? You have a flying thing, and you could maybe mount it if you get a big eagle. Mm-hmm. Would you really want a flying horse, as it were? Like, it would make flying maybe too easy or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my big thing was I wanted to choose a fantasy creature instead of just a real, like we walk outside, we'll see squirrels. Squirrels in Minecraft probably aren't a good idea, but I don't know, like a gnome that runs around and maybe he plants saplings could be a cool thing.
Oh, that would be funny.
Yeah, I mean, just this little tiny gnome running around with an oak sapling. Mm-hmm. You just see plant and he disappears.
They would just pop up.
Yeah.
And just disappear again. Oh, I like that. That's kind of cool.
I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Or maybe he plants flowers instead of a tree, so you don't have a tree accidentally grow into your build.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, I did think of something. Like, I thought of what is it? You get the when you have a rainbow and a pot of gold at the end of the. Oh, what are those things called?
Leprechauns.
They're like leprechauns. Yeah, I thought that could be fun as well. Just like have a rainbow when it rains, and then at the end there's like a gold bar or something.
That could work too.
With a leprechaun, I don't know.
I mean, fantasy has a ton of creatures that can be brought into Minecraft, but
well, I know I mentioned a gargoyle when we were sort of coming up with mobs. I think that could be a nice mob for something as well.
Yeah.
Maybe for my underground creature. I never really decided on what it should look like or whatever.
Yeah, to me, it's all about the balance. To me, I
Yeah.
feel we have a lot of hostile mobs and not a lot of friendly / neutral mobs. I mean, we have pigmen, which can be deadly if you hit them. That's why I went with the Wraith being kind of a passive mob until you actually tried to attack it. I didn't want it just to immediately start attacking you every time you went next to Soul Sand, because that gets annoying, because there's a lot of Soul Sand in the Nether.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, I like. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I also wanted a mob that could be farmable because I knew it was going to drop quartz, and it needs to have some kind of AI to draw you to the player. The player needs to be bait, as I was putting it.
Yeah, that's clever found. Yeah, I had a sort of similar thing. I was like, I would like to see a mob that can help you. I guess because there is not much. You get a lot of sort of gimmicky things, but there isn't much useful or many useful mobs. You got the horse and the donkey, I guess. Maybe the llamas because they can carry stuff. But beyond that, no mob really has something that helps you out.
Yeah, I mean, what does a bat do other than squeal at you every 5 seconds?
Yeah, or even a pig. Like, it just sort of, well, it gives you food, but that's... I don't see that as helping. That's just...
What are you talking about? I ride my pig all the time.
Yeah, sure.
Now, Kevin Bacon hides in the room I haven't finished building yet.
Or like bats. Like you said, they don't do anything. No, they just fly around.
We need better flying mobs that are useful. And I am 100% on board for an owl or an owl-like creature. That would be really cool. Or heck, mix the owl-like creature with my raven idea.
Yeah.
That would
just
be awesome.
Like they do in Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm. Maybe have an owl that can attack a phantom for you. So you forget to sleep. The owl attacks some phantoms. That could be kind of cool too.
I think they should be actually flying. Not like parrots.
Yeah, no more fluttering mobs, as I call them.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The fluttering, we got that. We want flying.
Yeah, we want something that actually takes off and lands.
I can see how that would be tricky, though. Like, I can see why they did the phantoms only at night, because if you get a lot of stuff flying in the sky, that's not going to be helpful for game performance.
No, not at all.
But I'm sure they can figure it out. Get us that owl.
Get us an owl that can deliver items to other players.
Actually, I say that, but I much rather like to see your rate idea. Get us that rate.
I would love to see farmable quartz in the game somehow.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah.
Even if it's just like a drop from pigmen. That would be cool.
That would be too simple. I like your idea. It's sort of a nether witch. Or something. Yeah.
It could be.
Also, the gold farms with just so much extra items that you have to filter and stuff. Well, it's only one, but they already got so much.
Yeah, I'm going back to it though. I want rideable dragons. Give me a rideable dragon that is red. I want a red dragon. Well, and a
Ravager.
Oh yeah, I want to be able to ride Ravagers too.
Yeah, they already have a saddle. I mean, the pillagers can ride them. Why can't we?
Well, I say if you're holding the ominous banner in your offhand, you should be allowed to get on a Ravager and ride it.
Well, maybe you have to go through like a taming something. You hold the banner and you have to, I don't know, do some other stuff to it. And then, I mean, it's quite a powerful mob, isn't it? It makes sense to have to work for it to tame it.
Yeah. Yeah, my whole idea was just
to be able to ride it. Trick it. Just hop on its back.
Just trick it. You're holding an ominous banner. You must be a friend. Get on my back.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, we don't know how clever they are.
Right. I mean, look at their faces. It looks like a Benki face, but bigger.
Well, I mean, they sort of look like bulls to me, but...
That's true. But I think that's kind of it for this episode. Bank, do you want to leave us out?
I think. Yeah, sure. If you like the show, leave us a rating and a review. It helps us out reaching to listeners. If you'd like to get into contact with the show, send an email, podcast@rippleeffectsmp.com, or tweet us. Join us on Discord. We got that. We would like to see a bit more people there, and you get into nice contact with us. Like, we can have a direct chat with you if you like.
Yeah. And this show is brought to you by Bank and myself, but let's also not forget about our digital producer, Carl. Carl makes sure that the show does not end up in the darkest spots on the web and that you're able to find it and hear it. Speaking of hearing, though, our intro and outro was done by the one and only amazing Decoy. He is a part of the Ripple Effect. You can also find him and Carl's Twitters in the show notes. But thank you guys so much. I've forgot the outro line. Thanks for coming and getting withered with us. Bye, guys.
See ya later.